people, because I just feel if we can pull more people into the real estate industry, all boats rise that way. The more investors, more real estate's trading places, more wealth is being distributed. Broker, we also do the same for brokers. We put topics on there about real estate, how to get in to be a real estate agent. One of the people from CNBC is coming out with a new show called Listing Impossible. And one of the people that's on the show is just on here. It's going to launch in May. And so she walks through how to start being an agent, the steps you need to go, and all that. And so
List Impossible?
Listing Impossible.
Pretty clever name.
Yeah, it's good. It's brilliant. So the premise behind the show is this. There's this guy, Aaron Kerman is a big residential real estate agent out here. He's actually with Compass, but he has 64 people under him in Compass. And he goes into these, for the show, he goes into these properties that have been on the market for passed through many brokers or many agents and just hasn't sold. So he goes in and takes these high net worth. I mean, the last one was 18 million. And he walks through and said, this is the problem, this is the problem, this is the problem. And they try and do it lighthearted, but it's also, you've got to spend X amount on staging. You need to get rid of all this stuff. And they really tell them what, then they put it on the market and then it ends up selling. So it's a pretty good idea.
Yeah. And you said somebody in your office is doing it?
No, it's somebody, it's a person that is just a friend of mine who's involved with it.
Okay.
She was always part of the $1 Million Listing programs, all those shows that have been going on. So she came in and told how Aaron hired these, or not all the secrets, but told us how you go about doing to hire these people. So pretty good idea they have.
Yeah, that's definitely.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you, real estate is what they say the number one way to build wealth. Is that how you got into it? Like, what made you get into the real estate industry?
I grew up in Nebraska on a farm and on a working farm, a town of 281 people. Quite the place to grow up. It's in Wallback, Nebraska. It's a beautiful place. It was a great place to grow up, but not a whole lot going on. But my dad became a real estate became an auctioneer, and part of that he sold real estate. So that always intrigued me. That I met a few other people when I went off to college, and that were in real estate, and they helped me get a kind of a leg up. And I started trying to sell farms in Lincoln, Nebraska. Which, if you can imagine, an 18, 19-year-old coming in and saying, "I'm going to sell your farm for you." Mm-hmm. How they even took the meeting with me is beyond me, but they did. And I didn't have a ton of success, but I got a lot of experience. And but then I got out, I got the bug from it. And then I ended up moving to California. And I got about 2 years of college in and I couldn't afford it anymore. Mm-hmm. So there weren't any jobs in Nebraska back then. And this was in the 80s and mid 80s. And just started working. I worked at Stride Right Shoes in the Laguna Hills Mall, telemarketing at night. So I was working 6-7 days a week, finding anything to do, right? Mm-hmm. To keep busy because I had no money. I mean, I wasn't going to go out. And I was in San Clemente, California, where it was predominantly Marine. That was what was there. The Marine base is right there. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't have anybody really my age, and I couldn't hang out with them because they wanted to go do stuff that I couldn't afford. But I just decided to get my real estate license. So when I had some time and got some money put away, I got the classes. And then as time progressed, I got my broker's license. And but yeah, it was that was a lot of struggling. I started doing some development with friends and buying houses and flipping them. Got out of the last one just in time. I mean, we dollars. We just had to unload it as fast as we could because the economy was tanking. And then I ended up at a company. It's Kennedy Wilson. At the time was a real estate auction company. It was the biggest real estate auction company in the country. And so I ended up working there in the marketing department. marketing department, I really learned, how to market either individual condos and actual large developments and commercial. So, so I was working there for a good number of years, and then they ended up completely changing the company. I ended up moving into the closing department, where it was then headed up by a guy by the name of George Pino. I worked with George for about 6 or 7 months probably. And then he ended up laying me off, and it was just completely downsizing. And then he got laid off 2 months later, and I was already at a new auction company. I started it with another individual here in Los Angeles. And George had laid me off, has been my business partner ever since then. So he's had several years of paying back for laying me off. So we've been business partners for a lot of years, 20-some years now.
Wow.
And, but we started a auction company. There was a large residential firm in Los Angeles called Fred Sands Realtors. And Fred was always kind of a visionary. He was somebody that started his residential firm with nothing, just built it up over time. I don't remember the number of offices he had, but it was a good number. And we started his auction division for him. And I mean, I think back to, I don't know, I'd never really done an auction. I ran the marketing side of it, and then I did some closing stuff, but I'd never done business development. And George, same thing. George has just been in the closing department. But for some reason, Fred saw something. He goes, "Listen, I've got this auction division. This is the guy you're going to be working with." He goes, "Let's build it." And so we just, and it was strictly commission. We're like, okay, I guess when you're 28 years old and don't know that you probably should go get a job, something like this, but there might have been better decisions if I was my parent at the time. But we took that company within 16 months. It was a number 2 auction company in the Western region of the United States. And that was just we just showed up in the morning at 7:30 in the morning, started cold calling back east all day. And then we'd end up calling we were mostly calling banks and developers and that kind of stuff. We'd end up calling Hawaii at the end of the day. And then we'd have to stop. And there weren't really computers that you could use back then. So we had to handwrite we had a form letter and sent it out every night. And it really worked. We didn't have the technology we have now, but we just got on the phones and started calling. And we did.
It was a good way to learn skills.
Yeah. When you have no money coming in and you're watching your little savings account go down and down and down, it's really not that difficult to be able to get on those phones. We'd never done it before, but after week number 1, you've kind of got a rhythm. And it worked. Fred we built that company up. It did very, very well. Fred ended up selling that company to NRT under the Coldwell Banker banner.
Okay.
So we ended up, we didn't really want to be under a big banner like that. So we chose to go to another company. And we went to this company called DBL Realtors, Dalton Brown Long. And it was run by a guy by the name of Alan Long. And Alan had this theory. Now, in residential offices, it used to be that you'd have 100 agents in an office, and you'd have 6 computers, and you'd have in a computer room, and you have to sign up and do all to get your time on that computer. And said, okay, I'm starting this company. It's residential. I think he had like 8 or 9 offices at the time. He put computers on everybody's desks just to create these efficiencies. And he would do things like that. He was trying to teach everybody to go from, you're probably too young to remember this, but it used to be voicemail. Mass voicemails would go out instead of emails. So he's teaching people how to do email. And to get people to do email, he would send out to some of the top producers in his company, "I'll buy lunch at the Polo Lounge if you answer within 1 hour." And 2 or 3 of those, when people didn't answer within an hour because they haven't checked their email, sudden if they started talking in the offices. It was just brilliant the way he did it. But he also embraced the agents working together.
Okay.
Which is something that coming from a commercial real estate, being in what we were doing with the auctions and some commercial, was completely unique at the time. Because Alan, he would have office meetings, and it was just a free place to communicate. In our office meetings, you could talk about listing presentations you were working on, and no agent was going to run out and try and go to that client. There was just trust. And it really, he ended up building that company up to 12 offices, and then he sold it to NRT under the Sotheby's banner. Now, I'm running his commercial division for him, and we had started a commercial division for him, and Sotheby's didn't want to have that commercial division. So when he sold, we were closed down. And now we've got a commercial real estate company, Commercial Brokers International, and that's where that all started from. But to go back to Alan, if you run into an agent that was DBL, if you run into them this day, they will say, man, I miss that company. It's the environment that this guy created. He found a way he was always, you could call him on his cell phone any time of day. And he would get back to you. He would always within 24 hours. It was a great way. I really learned a lot of management through him. The mentoring was strong. Actually, it's on our YouTube channel. I just did a video with him that he'll walk you through all the tricks that he did to get people more involved. And it was just really quite phenomenal. And he just brought a positive working environment. He took the whole ego-driven, it's like remove that when you come in this office, how we're going to work together, and was highly successful. So our commercial real estate company, Commercial Brokers International, we've based it on that. We really have a focus on that. Culture is our key, and we have 10 agents right now. We're going to take it up maybe to 12 or 15. We're going to keep it as a smaller firm. I don't want to have, my thing is, as far as a manager, if I have 40 agents in the office, 12 of them or 15 of them are going to be the ones making money. The rest, it's going to be training and doing all that. So I'm really looking for people that I can spend more one-on-one time with every day. If I have 12 to 15, I can do that. I can really give them my attention, and George his attention as well. And George is the CEO of Commercial Brokers International.
So help me understand, what's the difference between an agent, which you said, your goal is for about 12 or 15, and investors? Like, what would be the difference of what they would do? And you can be specific with your firm or, in general.
You mean the difference, the brokers bring the deals to the investors, or the agents bring the deals to the investors.
Okay.
Yeah, our agents will go out, they find deals for investors, or if you want an office space to lease or retail space, that's what they do. And then the investors, they give our agents parameters, investment parameters, and then they go out and search for assets via some of the tech that's available, or mostly through connections that they've had. And then they bring those deals to the investors.
Okay. So how does a organization like you do? You said you worked in the marketing department, so how do you do marketing for something?
Well, now in commercial, we're doing something a little bit different with our commercial real estate company. We have, you go into a lot of the larger firms, and they really haven't embraced social much yet. They're starting, but not much. Now, the residential side, all the agents are doing it. The companies are doing. If you see what Sotheby's, Compass, Coldwell Banker, everything that they're doing, it's pretty amazing what they've managed to do on social. But commercial hasn't really caught up yet. But if you go on to cbicommercial.com and see what we're doing, we really embrace all the social networks, and we really push that out there. Matter of fact, if you Google a commercial broker in Los Angeles, Commercial Brokers International will be one of the top ones, and it's all off SEO.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we have a good representation in Southern California.
So that's pretty innovative.
For us, it's about working smarter. It's just, we can go get those same clients, those big companies we can get to them. I mean, what you can do with Facebook and Google AdWords is pretty amazing, the way you target these people. The fact that the larger companies aren't embracing it, it really, I don't understand. And our platform is a lot different than most commercial broker company in that we tend to hire more entrepreneurial people, more agents, because we'll give you our splits go higher than most. Because we feel that once you're trained, you're going to be going out there, you're going to be bringing us market share. But we don't have a bunch of staff either. We have a couple of people in marketing. and I work directly with the marketing people, and everything else is on the cloud. So if you're out to a meeting and you need anything, you can just go into the cloud and pick up any documents you need, any marketing materials you need. It's all right there. You just need to take your laptop with you. And, a lot of these bigger corporation brokerage companies, they're just top heavy with staffing. And it's just, I don't get why I just think that platform is kind of broken. I think eventually it's going to be a lot more like what we're doing. Mm-hmm. Bring the right people that can go out and handle their business on their own, and but also giving them good marketing. As we really, as a company, if you go on any of our social, you'll see that we are really promoting our agents. I mean, we promote or their listings. So for us, we look as the agents as our clients, not. And they're obviously their clients as well, but we want to make sure we service our clients. So it's open door policy. They help each other out. If we have an agent, we try and promote our agents. If you're with one of our competitors and you tell us something you're looking for, and one of our agents sees something that might fit you, even though you're a competitor, they will call you up. Well, we ask them to call you up and say, "Listen, I've saw this. It might fit what you're looking for. Have you seen it? If not, then you should call this person." So, trying to help everybody in the industry get together and be a little bit more united instead of so fragmented.
It sounds like a concierge kind of service.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we will. In the end, it kind of is, I guess. We do get agents that do reciprocate that. So we'll put wants and needs out on it through our system, and agents will call and say, "Yes, I know you guys need to contact this person." So if you look at it that way, it sounds a little kumbaya, I know, but it has worked. Not every time. It does work once in a while.
That's cool. Yeah. I like that. Building community,
Yeah.
And you mentioned that, someone a business owner you admire in business helped you, you guys structure your current company.
Yep.
Would you call him a mentor, whether it be previously, or who is your mentor?
It's Alan Long. I mean, I don't even think he knows it. I think he just knows I'm that pest that calls him when I need something, but he takes the call. And he's just one of those people that you are thankful you run into in your lifetime. You're like, I don't know why this guy keeps talking to me, because I feel like I'm just taking from him. Mm. But, I'm very lucky to have run into him, and he helps me a lot. He gives me a lot of guidance. And we've known each other pretty well now for a lot of years, so the advice is spot on. Yeah. But if somebody's looking for a mentor, to get into this business, into commercial real estate, I believe you need to have you should have a mentor. Really, it'll be the fastest way to learn and the fastest way to start generating revenue for yourself.
Do you mentor other people?
Oh, absolutely. Well, I have another site. As I was talking about the YouTube channel that we built, it's Joe at joekillinger.co, and it's just, we put content out there for individuals that want to be investors, mm-hmm. really get into the real estate investing field. So we put content out for that. We do post the YouTube videos there. We do have written content a blog that we put out there. But the whole purpose of that is, if you want to just go there and read. We're just now getting started with it. So there's not a ton of stuff, but it's going there weekly. So there's videos and there's content to teach you how to do that. And I've got people there's a lady in London that I'm mentoring right now. Mm-hmm. There's a couple there's investors around the country. And so we just do quick calls with them every once in a while and just talk about what they're looking at and how they can get from A to Z the quickest.
So is it
mentoring for me? I think one thing I would like to touch on mentoring is, if you're looking for a mentor, you need to bring a value to the table. Mm-hmm. Don't just call somebody and say, "Hey, I want you to mentor me." Call them and find out what their weakness is, and if you can help them do that weakness. Because if you're just going to try and take their time and that's not, you want to bring something that you can offer them as well. So I found that when those people call and ask me where my weak spot is, I first of all didn't realize how many I had. I'm writing them down, but it can be a win-win for everybody then.
So
Yeah. Well, there was a guy I know of a guy in Dallas that he wanted to mentor with this developer, and he called the developer. He goes, "What do I need to do? We're working." He goes, "Well, my guy's digging ditches for our where we're putting the pavement in. Our new development didn't show up today." He goes, "Okay, what's the address?" And he showed up, and he is there working now. He's part of that corporation. So it's
wow,
just bad you want it. You know,
yeah,
you want to go out and dig ditches, and that made a huge impression. So
yeah. I would.
yeah.
I wonder if that was a test too. But
I wouldn't doubt it, knowing that guy. I bet he had all the help he needs, but it could.
yeah,
It sure ended up. No matter what it was, it ended up in a great way. So, but yeah, that's the mentoring is something I believe in. We do have a good amount of people. We've got resumes sitting right here that we talk to. It's just time. I want to make sure if I'm going to commit to it, I
mhm,
can commit to it and give everybody 100%. So I need to be able to shut down and really hear what they need and where they want to go. And sometimes I'm not the best person for it, but I might know somebody that is.
mhm.
Try and help find them. I'm trying to help them find the right person for it. So
Cool. What you have a business partner. Can you share how you picked your business partner? Because I know some people have had, success in business partnerships, and some people have had a lot of um,
it's
failure.
tough.
Yeah. And how do you keep that relation? You tend to be close because you're working close together, and you probably know each other from a past, whether you worked together before or friends. So how do you keep business and personal when making decisions for the business and growing the business?
Well, George and I got started because he laid me off, and then that day when we really got to know each other. And I think deep down, I was like, I'm going to pay him back someday. So some years of that. But no, you really have to look at your strengths,
Hmm.
weaknesses.
Hmm.
You really need to find somebody that can cover those weaknesses. George handles the day to day on the sales for the commercial real estate company. He knows the contracts back and forth. You put one of those contracts in front of me, I'll go cross-eyed on you. But marketing, operations is where this is what I can bring to the table. So you want to look for somebody. Finding somebody, you want to take your time. Jump at the first person. I got pretty lucky with George in that. That day that I got laid off, we just sat and talked for a while because he knew it was going to be tough for me because it was just living paycheck to paycheck. And we just sit there and kind of got to know each other that day because really we just worked. And then when I heard he was getting laid off, like 6 weeks later, I was his first phone call. And I just told him, I said, "Well, you can." Again, I was on strictly commission with the Fred Sands company, and it was called the Sands Group. I said, "You can come join me, and we can try and do this together." But I said, "I don't know how it's going." Now he was engaged uh,
Hmm.
to be married, and she had 2 kids already. So there was he had to make some decisions. So um, it's it was a battle. We both got down to where we should have went and got jobs. Yeah, we got lucky. So it was just, well, I think we created a lot of our own luck. We stayed in that office calling and sending letters, and we knew the market. There's no other business development person doing auctions at that time that knew more about the Southern market than we did, because we drove Saturdays and Sundays. We would drive all California and look at all the development deals that were going up. So when we had something to talk to on Monday through Friday, when we were doing calls, we could tell everybody about every project. And so we just brought a lot of value to the table. And that's what we instill in our agents now when they're doing their marketing, when they're doing their cold calls. You have to bring value to the table. You don't want to be that person that does a cold call and just says, "Hey, this is such and such calling on your property. Would like to talk to you about it. Give me a call back." Bring valuable information to that individual and then try and get the way back if they don't answer the phone, of course. So, but yeah, always bring value to the table in whatever you do.
Okay. You've mentioned something a couple of times I wanted to ask about growing and building a team. I know you said you got a lot of um, you saw the structure from your mentor.
Yep.
How is it? 'Cause some people may not be at the level where they have employees, so you do. Your agents are. So, what
Yep.
type of tips would you give for growing a team and hiring employees or contractors?
Right. We focus from the top culture.
Hmm.
They're going to fit our culture. And it's if you're going to come in and you're just going to be closing your door, not talking to anybody, not participating in the company, that's, and obviously you don't know that right off the bat. That you have to do your background work, but you really want to find the work. A lot of times can be trained, or in some cases retrained, because when you go to a lot of the commercial companies, we like to retrain them and have them work the way we work. They're finding they're a lot more efficient and a lot more productive, and they generate more revenue doing it the way we've been doing it. And so we really look for culture number one, and then experience on down. We'll take somebody that's been in the business for less than 2 years, and we generate a lot of leads from our marketing.
Hmm.
And people have started in the first couple of days. We'll just walk out and give them a lead and say, "Here you go." And then obviously we work with them, or they'll partner with another agent in the office when they're that new. But you just got to trust that you hired the right people and give them enough free reign to go be an entrepreneur. We hire entrepreneurs, so
Yeah.
if somebody puts a wall in front of one of our agents, they will figure a way around it, or they'll come and ask us. The whole office will get together and help them out to try and figure this out. And that's the benefit of having a smaller company.
Yeah.
So if you've got 40, 50 agents in the office, that'd be.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of entrepreneurs, business owners attest to having like a morning routine or a daily routine. Do you have something that you have found that you have to do, or else it'll throw you off, or it's just, now ingrained into your success strategy?
Yeah, when I started, I just chose from the very get-go to have a structure.
Hmm.
Morning is, make sure, read the news, what's going on in the industry I'm in.
Okay.
When I'm having my morning coffee, I want to know everything. So if I am answering emails, I want to make sure, or calls, I've got the most updated information. And then I start on emails. But I'm very structured throughout the day. And obviously with our business, when the agents would come in, or we have a property management company as well, something can happen there with a maintenance issue or something. We deal with it, but it's not a tight structure, but nonetheless, for me, it has to be structured. I think as an investor, as a real estate agent, that's a big key. You need to have that structure and then be able to execute on that structure. I talk to so many agents. I can't tell you how many agents I've sit here and this is what you should do every day. You should do your cold calling, your sphere of influence, your emails, your escrow, on and on and on. And you can talk to them 2 weeks later and, well, they've done the cold calls, but they haven't done the emails. Or, if you just execute on all of them, that's going to be your best bet. And not, don't cold call all day every day. Set it for a couple hours and again, have your marketing or your market that you're after. Be very specific.
That's good that you still encourage them to do cold callings, because you said earlier that your agency is pretty innovative as far as being on social
Mm-hmm.
media, but you still take things offline to connect with people one on one. So you're not
Yep.
just a digital, I don't want to say
Yeah.
platform, but yeah, you
Well,
want
the digital is going to catch the younger generation. If somebody's 60, 70, 80 years old, they're probably, they might be on Facebook.
to.
I see them on Snapchat, but we're not on Snapchat anyway. But the cold calling it really still works. It's still one of the most effective ways. One of our agents last week, she'd been with us for 2 weeks and was going to set up to do her first day of cold calling with him. She came running back down 2 hours later. She goes, "I've got a guy on the phone that wants to sell his building. What do I do?"
Wow.
She was in complete panic mode. So we had the appointment on Monday, and she did very, very well. But she wasn't expecting that. But it's the bringing the value. She knew everything up and down his street. She'd actually walked the street, met the retailer. She did a block program. So she walked the street, met the retailers, had all this information to offer this individual, and he was very interested in it. So fingers crossed for him.
Sounds like good training and a scene from the boiler room.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's yeah, maybe just a good agent though. Yeah, she's pretty sharp. So
okay, that's good. Well, that's good as well. Well, I guess lastly, I wanted to know if you had, one piece of advice to give someone just starting out, what would it be? And it doesn't necessarily have to be in your industry, it could just be in general. What would it be?
you just got to. I sound like Nike commercial. Just do it. People find a reason to. They put the walls and the excuses I hear sometimes. I just am like, okay, but how do you know that's going to happen?
Mm,
Talk to people. Call me. Email me. I'll give you my 2 cents if I can. Maybe the best 2 cents you've ever given, but or received. But it's just we'll try. There's a lot of people out there in this world will help you. Just don't stop. You're going to get a lot of no's in life. Don't stop. You just keep going forward. Keep pushing.
that's good. A lot of people out there will help you, and kind of going back to what you mentioned about mentors, they shouldn't get used to people just helping them for free, or how would you feel around that? Like that you might be reaching out to a successful person, but how do you get their attention?
Right. Yeah. Well, persistence is a lot of it.
Yeah.
One thing, another individual I know, he's a commercial broker. He gets on LinkedIn and was reaching out to people. He mentored. He goes, I need some mentoring. I'll pull your properties up. I'll do all your showings. LinkedIn's a very powerful tool.
Yeah. I'm connected to you on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Joe. This has been great.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you having me on.
Sure.
Okay, if you're looking for information on how to become a real estate investor or a real estate agent, you can go to joe@joekillinger.co, not .com, .co, or you can go directly to our YouTube channel, which I always have to look up. It's youtube.com/user/rent, RENTRITE, directory, DIRECTORY, and check out those videos.